Do you want to know how to get super clean, crystal clean vocals for your mix? Watch this video and let's dive in. Hey, what's going on, family? This is Princeton Brown, and I'm here today to dive into mixing vocals and the exact methods, plugins, and various ways that I mix my vocals. Shout out to Alia Jackson. This is a song by Alia called You Ain't Ready. So if you guys are ready, here we go into mixing vocals. So let me play a little bit of this track just so you guys can get a vibe.
You never open my door when we get to the restaurant. When the check come, you look at me like, babe, how much you got? Whenever I'm around, you don't treat me like a queen and act like me once, and that is such a bad thing. Why is it so hard to get you to open up to me? Why is it so complicated to show me some chivalry? My heart is yours, but your heart don't belong to me. I hear my mother's voice, I was young when she told me, never raise a man, never raise.
So you guys can hear a little bit of the track there, just to get an idea. I always like to start off my sessions by just listening to the dry audio for the vocals here. As you can see, we don't have any plugins on the purple vocal tracks here. So let's dive in. Usually I start with the verse vocal because the verse comes in first for this particular song. So I'll just start with this vocal.
You never open my door when we get to the restaurant. When the check come, you look.
So already I can hear that there is some resonance in the vocal. So the first step that I would do for this vocal is apply a parametric EQ. For me, Fab Filter is one of my favorites, simply because I can really zero in on the frequencies. I can solo the frequency bands and really find those resonant areas. So I'll just solo the vocal to begin with, have my EQ, and I'm going to sweep and listen for resonant areas where the frequencies are really pronounced, and I want to duck those out to clean up this vocal. It's gonna create a much clearer sound for us. So here we go.
You never open my door when we get to the restaurant. When the check come, you look at me like, babe, how much you got? Whenever.
So as soon as I started pushing this band above the 10 decibel level, you could really hear what that EQ is doing. So now I'm gonna sweep it down into the mid-range and lower mids and try and find those resonant areas and duck those.
You never open my door when we get to the restaurant. When the check come, you look at me like.
So right there, we're already getting a lot of resonance. It's not a pleasant frequency. It's peaking out among the other frequencies. And the easiest way to find this frequency, this is 432 in this vocal example, is just like I said, sweep around the 10 decibel level and keep the decibels the same and just sweep. And as you hear one frequency range pop out over the other, that's an indication that that is a resonant frequency area that you wanted to duck. So let's do this process again.
You never open my door when we get to the restaurant. When the check come, you look at me like, babe, how much you got? Whenever I'm around, you don't treat me like a queen and act like me once, and that is such a bad thing. Why is it so hard to get?
So right there, I hear it again. It's peaking out too much in relation to all the other frequencies. So I'm going to duck that now.
You never open my door when we get to the restaurant. When the check come, you look.
And I just want to duck it enough where I actually can audibly tell the difference. Now I'm gonna clear out some of the rumble, the low rumble with a high pass filter. in the vocal. This is just taking away some of our headspace. Usually I do a 48 dB per octave cut.
You never open my door when we get to the restaurant.
So as you guys can hear there, I rolled it all the way up to 105. We still had a lot of body and warmth to the vocal, but we just got rid of all that sub-low frequencies that honestly are just taking up headroom, and they're not gonna allow our vocal to really sit nice and breathe in the mix.
You never open my door when we get to the restaurant. When the check.
So I'm still hearing another area in the low mids, somewhere around like 200 hertz, where there's a lot of resonance. So let's take a look there again.
You never open my door when we get to the restaurant. When the check come, you look at me like, babe, how much you got? Whenever I'm around, you don't treat.
So I pinpointed it to 259 hertz, and so now I'm gonna duck that out.
You never open my door when we get to the restaurant. When the check come, you look at me like, babe, how much you got? Whenever I'm around, you don't.
So already to me, that's sounding much clearer with those 3 simple moves on the EQ. Let's bypass it.
You never open my door when we get to the restaurant. When the check come, you look.
And let's put it back in.
You never open my door when we get to the restaurant. When the check come, you look at me like, babe, how much you got? Whenever I'm.
Sounding pretty good. So now, since the vocals really sit in the mid-range, I'm going to, the next step in my EQ process is kind of crafting a general range of frequencies that are very pleasing to me. So I'll push those out with a broadband EQ, or broadband curve, sorry, just because I like those frequencies. So I want them to be more present in the vocal as I mix the song further. So let's find where those nice mid-range frequencies for this vocal are and push those out.
You never open my door when we get to the restaurant. When the check come, you look at me like, babe, how much you got? Whenever I'm around, you don't treat me like a queen and act like me wanting that is such a bad thing. Why is it so hard to get you to?
So right there, I have a Q of about 0.8, and we're pushing, 2.4, 2.5 dB or so around 1.7K. So almost 2K. So right around that range is like really where the vocal lives in the mix usually, and that's where you mainly hear the vocal, feel the vocal. So yeah, let's listen back to this vocal again with these minor EQ movements.
You never open my door when we get to the restaurant.
Take it off and hear before.
You never open my door when we.
Much more muddy. Put it back on.
You never open my door when we.
Already a lot cleaner with just the EQ. Hey, I hope you liked this video. If you did, hit that like button as well as the subscribe button so that you can get more educational content just like this and continue learning the great skill of mixing and music production. In addition, I have a free production guide linked in the description below of this video. If you would like to learn the 8 most common mistakes to avoid so that you can get the best mixes possible, go ahead and click that link below and you'll download the guide completely for free on my website. Whether you're a music creator, a mixing engineer, a producer, we all know that the mixing stage is super important, and I'm here to teach you how to get the best mixes possible. So download that guide completely for free. Leave a comment below and I'll respond. I always love to hear from you guys. Until the next time, peace and keep creative.